Oilers go back to back and force a game 6 back in Edmonton. Will the Panthers hoist the cup at Rogers Place, or will the Oilers make it a game 7? Let's break it down and look into some player props between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Yo, what's good? I am Exotic Wagers, and I am one of the sports consultants over at the Legacy Sports Discord. I myself cap hockey and golf, but primarily golf in the off season. We also have T's golf picks, and he's currently putting plays out for the Travelers Championship. We have Tays and taking the parlay, giving out MLB picks. Charm Picks also gives out MLB, but he is also primarily soccer and gives out soccer picks. And we also have Bearded Goat, which he is our tennis capper. So if you are new here, welcome. And if you are a return viewer, thank you for coming back. Before I break it down, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notifications so you get the notifications for the latest content when it drops. Also, make a comment down below and let me know what you think and give me some tips and let me know how I'm doing. But yeah, so tonight, Game 6 down in Rogers Place, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's look at some current odds and see what the game is sitting at. Let's go over to... So currently, the Edmonton Oilers are favored, and the best line is at minus 114 over at BetOnline. I'm currently recording this early Friday morning. I believe it is about 6 o'clock Eastern. And then the Florida Panthers is the underdog, and the best line you can find is plus 105 over at Bovada. The puck line minus 1.5 is plus 215 over at Caesars for the Oilers, and plus 1.5 at minus 250 over at Bovada for the Panthers. The over-under is set at 5.5. You can find the best line for the over at minus 105 at ESPN Bet, and the under at minus 105 at BetMGM. So if we look at get back to Game 5, the first goal came in the first 5 minutes with Connor Brown scoring a shorthanded goal off the power play of the Panthers. I think that was a really bad move by Montour when he was trying to kick that. Was it Montour or Forsling? One of the defenders was trying to kick the puck across the ice near the blue line, and Connor Brown just happened to jump up on it and poke it away. And he got that one-on-one with Grabowski. And he caught him behind the back skate and kind of got it in there, kind of set the tone for the game. And then the second goal came from Hyman on a power play. I believe it was tipped off a Bouchard bomb from down the slot. And then Connor McDavid scored the next goal. And then from there on, I mean, the Panthers did make it a game in the third period. It seemed like they did own the majority of that game, or that period. But ultimately, if you saw Matthew Tkachuk run down that puck and keep it out of net, and then McDavid kind of just put it right back in there to seal the deal for Game 6. But yeah, I mean, it seems like every game this series, it's been mostly goals off of mistakes, and it's very costly in the playoffs to make a mistake. And it seems like games are really tight, and when it's a 1 goal game difference, or the game is going to come down to the wire, it ultimately comes up to who makes the mistakes and who is able to not make mistakes to win. So if we're looking at Game 6 here and looking at who you think, um, not necessarily who do you think will win yet, but more or less what I think which each team needs to do to win. Um, I have some things listed here that so the Oilers are at home. I think if the Oilers want to win three in a row and continue this winning streak, they definitely have to keep their special teams clicking. As it was, I believe the Panthers had shut down like 41 of the last 43 power plays. And the Edmonton Oilers had two power plays in that last game. It seems like the Panthers have typically dominated on the 5-by-5 5 versus 5 ice, so they definitely need to keep it that way and keep their special teams going, both the PK and the power play, especially with that shorthanded goal. They need to continue to keep moving the puck on the ice and being able to get set up in the zone. I think, the Panthers do a good job of breaking up the rushes into the zone to get set up on the offense. But I think the Edmonton Oilers really do that very, very well. So if they can continue to get this puck set up in the offensive zone, I think they have a better chance at continuing this win. Also, like I had mentioned in previous videos, the third and the fourth lines, or the bottom six guys, really got to produce, and we've seen that lately with Janmark and Connor Brown getting tons of goals or points and getting on the stat sheet. So I think if the Oilers want to continue to win, they're definitely going to have to keep a lot of that up. The Panthers, I think, are starting to feel the pressure, and they are now going back into a hostile environment. And I really think they don't want a game 7 because it's just going to be that much more pressure, even though they are going back home. And I also think that the Oilers need to keep the volume off of Skinner. Skinner's been playing great as of late, but I also think that's due to keeping the volume off of Skinner. Let's see how many. Well, let's see how many shots on goal did they have last game. So Skinner had 29 saves on 32 attempts. Typically, you see the Florida Panthers, I think they average 35 or 36. So, yeah, they definitely need to keep the volume and keep playing defense like they have. And then looking on the other side for the Panthers, same thing, special teams. They definitely need to get their special team, their power play going. I think they are playing good on the 5-on-5, but ultimately they're going to need a goal from their power play if they want to win this game. And speaking of special teams, they need to eliminate mistakes. If you look at a lot of those goals, everything was coming off of mistakes, whether it was a turnover in the ozone, not avoiding odd man rushes, things that, the Oilers are somewhat good at. So they definitely need to do that. They definitely need to take away the middle of the ice. As you can see, you got Hyman that posts up right in front of the goal there looking for tips. But when you give McDavid space and area to work, area to give them to cycle the puck, it's definitely something that the Oilers thrive on, and they really need to take away that space. They need to close up the gaps, play heavy sticks on puck on the defense, and make them dump the pucks down into the zone, not let them enter the zone and get the offense set up. And when you get them to dump and chase and run, that's definitely the Panthers' bread and butter and where they play their best hockey. So they definitely need to do that. And I also think that the Panthers need to score first. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm kind of under the weather here. I'm going to take a drink. But yeah, I think the Panthers need to score first. You definitely see once somebody scores a goal, the first goal in the game, then it becomes a game for the other team from playing from behind and kind of panicking. So I think the team that scores the goal first kind of sets the tone, and then it's up to each of the teams to come back and beat the other team. So the Panthers definitely need to score first. Now for Game 6, who do you think the pressure is really on? Is it Florida trying to close out and not lose 3 in a row, or is it Oilers to force a Game 7? Honestly, the way the games have been going, I think the pressure's on the Panthers, especially them going into a hostile environment, trying to turn out a Game 6. Now, on the other hand, I feel like they have a better chance at winning down in Edmonton in Game 6 than going back home and feeling twice the amount of pressure at home in a Game 7. Both of these teams have won on the road, so they know what it takes to win on the road. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a matchup for sure. I think in the lineup, we are getting Nick Cousins back. I believe he's playing the fourth line for the Panthers. And I believe he's replacing Oposo. And then we also had a lineup change where, here, let's see, let's look at this again. Let me pull up, I have RotoWire right here. So if we look at the lineup here, what they did was so Barkov is now playing back on the same line with Veregi. Over the last couple of games, Rodriguez has been playing on line 1 with Barkov and Reinhardt, and Veregi's been playing on line 2 with Bennett and Tkachuk. But now for game 6, we have Veregi and Barkov, which I think play very well together, and I really like this lineup change. So hopefully we can get some production out of these. And Rodriguez also has been playing great. Also, for the third line for the Panthers, with Lundell, Luostarinen, and Tarasenko, they've been also playing great as well. I believe Tarasenko has a point in like 4 of the last 5 games. We can look into that when I go through player props. But that's something also I've noticed. And like I said, it's those the third and the fourth lines are the bottom 6 players that somewhat can sometimes make a difference in a game, because sometimes the lines 1 and 2 are tight and it's hard to get production out of them, because technically it's the best 6 players against the best 6 players on those 2 top lines. So definitely something to look into. And then you have Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's now going to be running the power play 1. So he'll be doing that and be able to quarterback power play 1, and hopefully that'll spark a difference instead of Montour, and get some points on the board and try to crack that power play. I think, like I said, the Panthers won that third period, and they really need to not make no mistakes and just play 5-on-5 hockey, where they, I believe, excel at. Excuse me. But like I said, I love the Panthers' opportunity to go into a hostile environment and win and hoist the cup, kind of in the land of hockey. So as far as the total, you would think that this game would be more tighter. I honestly thought the last game was going to be tight, but with the shorthanded goal and Edmonton going up 3-0 early, I think it kind of really opened up the game, where the Panthers were going to try to keep open ice so that they can try to come back and gain on that 3-goal deficit. But, the Oilers also at home have scored 3 or more goals in 10 of the last playoff games. So, I could also see a 2-2 or a 3-3 tie going into overtime, trying to keep this game. But if I had to lean an under or an over, I would probably lean the over, just the fact that it's also elimination game. So if you see a 3-1, 4-1 type game. You might get the team that is down pulling the goalie as early as maybe 5 minutes left in the third period. I just really don't like taking unders in elimination games, but typically in the playoffs, as it gets tighter and later down into the series, they tend to be a more lower scoring game because neither team wants to make a mistake, and they do play offense, but they also play guarded and try not to make no mistakes so that they don't want to be down or trying to chase from behind. So like I said, I'd probably lean the over. As for a side, I really don't lean a side right now. Like I've said in my previous videos, I have a 3-unit future on the Panthers. So technically, if I wanted to, I guess I could bet on the Oilers. And if the Oilers win, then I win another unit. We go to a game 7. Or, I think that would be the only way I'd probably go. Because I either bet on, and if I bet on the Panthers and the Panthers lose, then we still go to a game 7, and then I have a choice to make if I'm going to take the Oilers then or not. But let's look into some player props and see what we got going there. So the first player prop I'm gonna pull up a two. There's 2 players that I like, but I would like to have them parlayed. It's a plus 147. So the first guy I'm going to look at is Vladimir Tarasenko. Just like how I had mentioned earlier, if we look at his playoff runs, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games straight with over 1.5 shots on goal. His last 5 games, he's had 3 or more shots on goal in 4 of the last 5. And then in his last 3 games, he's had 4 shots on goal 2 of the last 3 games. So great volume. Let's see what his volume's like. So yeah, he's 6, 6, 5, 6, 4, 5, 3, 4. I think that's great volume for over 1.5. I wouldn't even mind maybe taking his over 2.5. I believe that is over at. So you can also take his 3+ shots on goal on FanDuel, but with the FanDuel lines, they're 60-minute lines. So I would suggest that you take it over on DraftKings. That way, if for some reason it goes to overtime and it goes quite a bit into overtime, those shots still count. Where versus on FanDuel, everything it ends on the 60-minute line. I would suggest if you're playing unders, you play on FanDuel, because if the game goes to overtime and you're playing an under, then none of those shots count. So if we look at Vladimir Tarasenko, 3+ shots on goal, that is plus 190 over at DraftKings. I think that's a really good number. I don't even think the number over at FanDuel was that good. Let's see. Yeah, plus 158. So not only are you not getting the opportunity to gain shots in overtime, but the odds are even worse over at FanDuel. So yeah, I think over 1.5 shots on goal at minus, I believe it's like minus 165 is a great parlay piece. But if you wanted to take a shot at 3+ shots on goal, like I've said, he's had 4 shots on goal in 2 of the last 3 games. He's covered the over 1.5. I believe it was 9 out of the last, or 9 straight. Let's see, what was that? 3, 6. Yeah, 9 straight games. So definitely a good look on him. Another person that I am very interested in is Evan Rodriguez. Like I said, he's been very active. Scored a goal off that working the behind the. It was behind the goal, I believe he scored that goal in the last game. But like he's covered 4 straight, covered 5 of the last 6. 7 of the last 9. Definitely somebody I'd be interested in looking at. Let's see how he's fared against Edmonton. So this is the playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of the last 7. 8 of the last 12 at 67%. But yeah, I mean, let's see what his volume looks like. Last 4 games, 5, 4, 5, 7. Definitely a good look. And like I said, I think if you parlay those 2 players together over on here, let's see. You're going to get the same game parlay. Let's see what them 2 parlayed together would be. So we're going to take Evan Rodriguez over 1.5. Vladimir Tarasenko over 1.5. So yeah, plus 146. When I was looking at this earlier, I believe it was 147. So it's moved one. I would assume people are going to be betting either Tarasenko or Rodriguez today. I think both of those are definitely good props for parlay pieces. So if you have another league you would like to tie it with, maybe baseball. We don't have NBA right now. We don't have NFL. So baseball or something that you also like on the board. I definitely love Tarasenko. Rodriguez is also a good look. If we want to look at another prop, assists. So Alexander Barkov. If we look at the playoffs. So he hasn't had an assist or a point in the last 2 games. He definitely pretty consistent through the playoff run. Somewhere right here between Boston and New York, he did have a 5-game spread where he did not get a point or a goal. But if you also look at just his overall season between home and away, he's slightly better on the road, 51%. But I think he's been somewhat solid. He's back on the line with Veregi. I like Veregi for a goal today. I think in one of my previous videos, I gave out a Bennett assist on it was a Matt Tkachuk assist on a Sam Bennett goal, and that hit. We tried taking a shot at the first goal on that exact assist goal parlay at plus, I think it was plus 4,400. But they ended up getting the 3rd goal of the game, not the first goal in that same exact setup. So like I said, I definitely like Veregi for a goal with a Barkov assist. The Barkov assist is currently plus 105 at ESPN bet. And if we look at Veregi, I believe Veregi was plus 195 or something for a goal. Yeah, plus 195 at BetMGM. I think he's definitely a good look today. And then the last prop that I would like to look at, excuse me, shots on goal, saves. So Sergei Bobrovsky, if you look at the last 2 games that they've played against the Panthers, the Oilers have shot 35 shots on goal in both of the last 2 games at home. And let's see if I can pull this up. The Covers website was down earlier and I wasn't able to open up any of the matchups. But let's see if it's open here. I'd like to pull up just the last 10 games. That's weird. Why it would pull up something that long ago. All right, so it's working. So if we look at the last 4 games in Edmonton, the Oilers have shot 35 shots on goal, 35 shots on goal, 39 shots on goal, and 40 shots on goal. So if we look at Sergei Bobrovsky's saves, he's currently set at 25.5. I think now the only downside of this is with me whole saying about making mistakes. Typically in a game like this, you're going to get lots of defense, lots of pucks, sticks on pucks, closing gaps, not a lot of opportunities. But like we saw, like I said, in those last 4 games, them having 35, 35, 40, and whatever that other number was, I believe it was another 40 number. I definitely think, Sergei's got to have a really good game. This game, I don't see him letting up more than 2 or 3 goals. So thinking that they're going to have 35 or more shots on goal, I like this number at over 25.5. And it is currently minus 120 over at ESPN Bet and a few other books. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything that I like for this game. Like I said, you can always find me over at these 2 handles here. Also on TikTok at Exotic Wagers. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this content. And like I said, please make sure that you like this video. Drop a comment down below and tell me who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup. Subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on those notifications so that you can get notified when the latest content drops just for here. After the hockey season, I'm also going to continue capping golf, and I will be giving out golf content here. I'd also love to get with Tease, which is our golf capper in the Legacy Sports Discord, and would love to get him on here and maybe do a show or two. We used to do a show on Twitter called From the Rough. But maybe we could come on here and maybe break down a golf tournament earlier in the week and give you some plays about, like outrights we like, head-to-head matchups, tournament matchups, round-by-round matchups, and maybe some props. But Tease is really good at outrights and a lot of the spots and the ranks, and just overall very knowledgeable in the game of golf. And not only that, but Euro Tour, women's golf, live. So if you are on Twitter, definitely check him out. I believe it's Tees Golf Picks, at Tees Golf Picks is his handle. But like I said, I am one of the cappers over at the Legacy Sports Discord. We cover most major sports and only charge $14.99 a month. So if you're interested in joining, please click the link down below and join. So thank you very much, and have a great betting day.